What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bodacious Rant. I hope everybody's doing good. Everybody's 2024 is off to a solid start. I know it's already almost over with January, but I'm still going to say it because it's still super early and it's crazy to believe we're in 2024 already. But, yeah, so again, as we've talked about previously, January is a very hit and miss month now in recent years where there's going to be a couple sleeper hits that come out during the month, but overall it's the movies that it's kind of getting into award season. Nobody really cares. Like, they're not going to do well, so just put them out then. And I think we're going to be talking about one of those movies that kind of falls along the lines of, is it really worth it? So we are talking about the newest sci-fi thriller, I.s.s., which is short for the International Space Station, starring Ariana DeBose, Chris Messina. I hope I'm saying his name right. Pilu Asbeck. I've never really heard his last name pronounced because it has that weird character in the middle of it. Casa Ronan, John Gallagher Jr., and Masha Mashkova. I've never heard of those other three, but the other three were solid. So yeah, this is a non-spoiler review, and so please do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We do appreciate you all. So let's get started, shall we? I.s.s. is essentially it's a movie about three American astronauts, three Russian astronauts that work in the space station together. It's a sign of unison between the United States and Russia. And then, after the team witnesses a series of nuclear explosions on Earth, they are given orders to take over the space station at any cost, and then, it rolls from there. So, like I said, Ariana DeBose is the main character. And I think this is one of her weaker movies so far, given I haven't seen her in a whole lot, so I can't really, say the best about her. Not that she's horrible or anything, but I just felt like her character was a little underwritten, especially for someone of her rising talent. Pilo Asbeck, I thought he was just a joy to watch because he's such a good character actor, whether it be the villain from Game of Thrones. I forgot the uncle's name. Euron. Oh yeah, Euron Greyjoy. He was badass in the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones. He was in Ghost in the Shell. And then Chris Messina has just become one of my favorite actors recently, just because not only because of his movie with an Air with Ben Affleck, but a bunch of other stuff with especially Ben Affleck's movies. I think they work really well together. But yeah, Bern. Before I give my thoughts and kind of expand on the thoughts and stuff, what did you think of this movie?
Yeah, so coming into it, seeing the trailers for it coming up, I think I'd only seen a trailer for it like last month, so it was very one of those like, oh, this seems interesting. Oh, cool, it comes out next month. Oh, I'll definitely check that out. The concept on its own is it's very intriguing, where you have these two different groups of people stuck in this space station, and their loyalties are being tested. Like I've told you in our conversations, this reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's The Thing. Where you have these researchers on a remote place, and there's conflict in between them, and you don't know who to trust. So the concept of itself is really cool. It's very interesting. Setting in space is a great idea since it's very isolated, and it's very claustrophobic. So it's tight knit and it's very tense, and in some aspects the movie does play into those, and it does play into those well at certain points. I just felt like overall it didn't play into it as much as I hoped it would. It didn't really take too much advantage of the concept, or I didn't think it did too many interesting things with it. It kind of plays out sort of how you would expect this sort of story to. And that was a little bit disappointing. Not that, the way it plays out is bad or by any means. It's just a little bit predictable, and I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more different, a little bit more of a change up, in particular with the ending of it. But I mean, what really holds it all together, I think, is the cast. And the cast are all really good, as you mentioned, all of them. For me, yeah. Also, Ariana DeBose's role felt a little bit underwritten, in like the fact that she is, of course, the main character of the story. It felt like she was also the least interesting one, which is a little bit of a discredit to her because, like you, I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff, but I mean, she won an Oscar for West Side Story, so she does have the talent, and she's great in Broadway and in her musical aspects, and it seems like she's taken more dramatic stuff lately, and I want to see that for her, but this role, it just didn't feel like it was right. It almost felt like they probably should have shifted to Masha Mashkova's character. She had a lot of really interesting stuff to work with in terms of her character and her conflicts and stuff. So it felt like it was a misfire in terms of like how they focused in on this movie and how they decided to play things out. But as I mentioned, the cast really does hold it together for the most part, and the visuals at some points were sort of interesting. It is a little bit more claustrophobic, not a lot of these epic space shots or anything, but when they do them, they are very visually interesting. It's just again, it just feels like this movie didn't live up to its potential in a lot of facets outside of the cast.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got a lot of the vibes of like Life, that one movie with Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, that sci-fi horror from like 6 years ago, and I really enjoyed that one. That kind of reminded me of this, where it's like a, you know, different group of nationalities, well, mostly Russian American in this one, but and they're stuck in a tense situation trying to survive the whole thing. But yeah, just Ariana DeBose's character, just she's very, for being a main character, it's like she really, yeah, you said it the best. She really had the least to work with. Yeah, I do agree with you that Masha Mashkova's character was really great. Like she had a lot of good character moments, as well as Chris Messina. I really liked their not dialogue, but their chemistry together. They really sold it on screen, in my opinion, for the plot and stuff like that. Pila Asbeck, like I said, I thought he was great. He does have that very mysterious character kind of feel, especially for being a Russian character. So I liked him in that. But overall, I think it could have played on the more serious nature of being in space. Because not only are you mentioning the whole claustrophobia aspect of it, but it's like you are in space. There's very little resources to survive besides the ones that you bring with you. So I think they could have played on that fear a little bit more, of like, the slightest mistake could really cost everything. But I think just maybe due to budget concerns, who knows? It just was not as great as it could have finished off on, especially the ending. I thought the ending was like, like this is how we're finishing up, but whatever. A lot of movies right now are having really abrupt endings. I don't know the trend of that, but okay. I mean, this is the era of just ending the story where it's at, and that's it. Like there is no sequels, there is none of that. So who knows? But having said all that, as much as I did like the cast and I did like some of the character moments and some of the scenes, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 2 out of 5 just because it was just okay. It isn't absolute garbage, but it's not. It just as for the premise and stuff like that, I think it played everything too safe, and that's the downfall of it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Where a lot of it felt very safe and a little bit uninspired. Where, like I said, I was hoping to see something new from this, and given the premise, given the setting, and the actors involved, it's like okay, they really could have gone a little bit more with this, and they ended up just kind of playing it how like you would think it's gonna play out, and yeah, like you, I was a little bit disappointed in that. So yeah, for me, it is also going to be a 2 out of 5. Not a horrible time at the movie theaters. I was still very much entertained watching it. So if you have like nothing better to do, or other movies that you haven't that you've already watched and looking for something new, I wouldn't say this is like a waste of time or anything. It's just it's hard. This one is hard for me to outright recommend you gotta go see this now, this is great. No, it's like okay, yeah, check it out if you have interest, you'll probably enjoy yourself, but you won't be thinking about it in like a week, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, I think after this month, we're definitely going to start seeing some bigger movies come out. So, definitely,
Hmm.
like February, I think is going to be a pretty solid month. So, kind of looking forward to it, even though I know there's going to be a couple movies that are going to be garbage, most likely. Hoping I'm wrong. I would love to be surprised and be like, oh my God, the movie's really good. But, for those of you who know me and Burn, you'd probably know what we're talking about. But other than that, thank you for your ranting burn. I do appreciate that, and it was I respect the rating. We actually agreed on it again. Um, next movie I'm gonna love, and I bet next movie I'm gonna really love. You're gonna be like, it was garbage, and just be like,
We'll see. We're like you said, we're early on in the year, so there's plenty of time for that.
oh, those frustrating moments. But that's why we do this, burn. That's why we work. But for those of you who did happen to catch this movie, or maybe if you've seen the recent movies like Beekeeper and Mean Girls, let us know in the comments. We'd love to keep those conversations going. As well as if you haven't already, and you did watch those movies, feel free to check out our reviews. They're both non-spoiler as well. But until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.